Hello everybody out there in Flosstube world. This is Vicki, the Virginia Stitcher, coming to you with a Flosstube Extra. This is my plans for 2022. As you know with me, my plans are loose. It doesn't mean that I will stick to them the whole year, but I like to set some little bit of goals, a little bit of plans, and see how well I can do on those for the year. Couple of little life updates before I get into my video. If you notice, if I sound a little lispy, I went to the dentist and he asked me if I wanted to straighten the crowding on my bottom teeth. And I said, well, how much is that going to cost? And he said, no, your insurance should cover it. So I said, okay. And he talked me into Invisalign, and I just got it last week. So I have to wear the trays unless I'm eating or brushing my teeth. Otherwise, they have to stay in my mouth. So for the next 5 or 6 months, I'm going to kind of sound funny when I'm doing these videos, I guess. A little lispy or bleh. And if you see extra shine on my teeth, that is why. I thought it would be a simple process, which it's not that bad. But I thought, okay, just to straighten out the crowding on my bottom teeth, my top teeth are straight. All I need is a tray to pop in and wear most of the day and all night to straighten my teeth. No, I'm sure some of you have probably had this or know people who have had Invisalign. You have to have these attachments stuck on your teeth. They're not in every single tooth, but they are on several of my teeth in my mouth. And he wanted me to also wear trays on my top teeth because he said to make sure my bite meets up when they do straighten the bottom ones. Because I said, well, my top teeth are straight. I don't want those messed with. But he said he needs to make sure my bite stays correct during the straightening of the bottom teeth. So I have trays on the upper and the bottom. And I went to the dentist and picked these trays. I thought all I was going to do is go in, pick up a tray, and thought I'm leaving for Ocean City the next day. I'll wait till I get back and then I'll start wearing the trays. Well, no. Because I had the attachments put on my teeth, and I have an appointment to go back 6 weeks after they gave them to me, because he gave me 3 sets. I'm supposed to wear each set for 2 weeks and then switch, to the next one. And then in 6 weeks, go back and let him see any progress on my teeth and how it's going. So I had to wear them to Ocean City very first, like the next day I left for Ocean City. And I wasn't used to it. In order to eat out at restaurants and things like that, I have to take the trays out, and it's a whole mess. So it's easier when I'm just home, and most of the time I am just home. But there are occasions that I do go out of town or I socialize and do things, and that's the only time when it'll be a real pain to deal with. But we'll see. We'll see if they straighten my lower teeth for me or not, and how all that goes. So the other update is I went to Ocean City. I just got back a couple of days ago. I bought this shirt, Ocean City, Maryland, while I was there. And it was a great group of ladies. I got to tell you, I also met 2 of the ladies that became my friends from StitchCon that I met this year in June, Cindy and Madeline. And we sat together, and there was probably, I don't know, maybe 20 women. It's a real small retreat because the room is not that big that we get to meet in. So it's not like it's massive. It's not going to be 100 ladies or more. It's just a small, intimate group, and had a lot of fun. Got to meet some ladies for the first time, and I really enjoyed everybody. So and got a lot of stitching done. I will be doing a stitching update video, a regular floss tube. I'm hoping next week to do that, because I'm supposed to have company coming in from out of town. I think they said they're going to be here the 18th. It'll be my mom and her husband. And my granddaughter, my oldest granddaughter, has a dance recital on the 19th. And then we'll be getting together with family and doing festivities and all of that for the rest of the year. January 1st, it was my dad's birthday. And so it's always a very special but hard time for me. Even though he's been gone for 16 years, it's still really hard when Father's Day comes and his birthday comes for me. So I don't know if family is still going to be here for New Year's or not. But you know, that is, I always think of my dad on that day. So, I don't know how much stitching I'm going to get in between the 18th of December, you know, and the end of the year. So I'm going to do a Flosstube update before my company comes and I get really busy with the holidays. And then it probably won't be till sometime in January, not far into January. I'm hoping within that first week of January to do my next Flosstube after that. So just so you know that I'll be on a little bit of a break. It might be 3 weeks in between my videos for the end of the year. So my plans, I have gone back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. I know I mentioned before that in April, it'll be my 60th birthday. And I wanted to do something special. And I watch Jen Lee. She's the one that heads up 24 hours of cross stitch. And she had set herself goals. And I know this past year, she had several whips. I think like 96 or somewhere around that. And she wanted to get her whip count to under 40 by the time she turned 40, which I believe she's done. And then now her next goal for next year, because it will be her 40th birthday on, I guess, February 22nd or something like that, of 22. So she liked the numbers 222. And she's decided she's going to do 222 whips next year. So I thought, well, I'm turning 60. Do I want to do 60 whips for next year? And I played with that idea. And then I thought, no, because as I'm going through the whips that I have, and I would guess somewhere in the neighborhood of 85 whips, and that's counting ancient whips that I have. Things from 20 years ago that I haven't finished when I took my break from cross stitch for a little while. So, but in the last year and a half, I've started about 60, 70 whips. So I thought, no, I don't want to do that because it'll put me well over 100 whips. And I don't know, that might be too much. And I feel like I'm not really touching anything. Like some of my whips might be sitting there gathering dust for the whole year and not getting any love. So I thought some more and I thought some more, went back and forth. And I decided, because it'll be 2022 next year, that I have set 22 goals for myself, and I have planned out 22 whips for myself. So I'm going to go over those. New starts, not whips. 22 new starts for next year. One will be a New Year new start, and one I have set aside as a birthday start for my 60th birthday in April. So my goals, my 22 goals, and I just wrote them down. And I always write downhill when I was just scribbling this. The first goals are 12 complete finishes, and the other goals are for 10 mini finishes. And you'll see when I go through them what I'm talking about by a mini finish. It could mean finishing a square, you know, a block, a page, a section of a really large piece that I'm working on, because I do work on big projects. In fact, you'll see why I wanted to only do 22 new whips for this year, because a few of them are going to be quite large whips, new starts. So they'll be large whips. So I'm going to go through my goals first, and then I'll go through the new starts, and then I'll show you the rest of what I have planned for the next year. So my 12 finishes that I want to have for next year, at least what I'm shooting for. The first one is my Hot Cocoa by Shannon Christine. I want to try to finish this one in 2022, and it's not a very big one. And this is how far I was able to get so far on this one. Sorry for the big crease down the middle, but this is just sits in my project bag. So I want to finish this one next year. And this one, like I said, is by Shannon Christine. It's called Hot Cocoa. It was a gift from my younger daughter for Christmas last year, this last Christmas. So I started it in January, I believe, of this year. So let me see. I have piles of things all around me right here, on the desk, on the table next to me. So I'm trying to find places to pile everything. My next thing that I hope to finish for next year, this was my StitchCon start when I went to StitchCon this year, and it's Quaker Study by Carriage House Samplings by Kathy Barrick. And what I want to do with this one is work some more on it, get it close to a finish, and finish it at StitchCon in June. So I definitely want this one as a finish this year. And this is how far I was able to get. So I still have a couple of more sections down here to finish. I got up to the R, and so I still have to finish all of this down in here. But I'm a good halfway through. So I'm about halfway through this one, and this one is not a super large one. This I would call a medium project for me. I have some smalls, I have mediums, and then I have large and insane large projects. So that one I want to have as a finish for next year. And I'm going to put everything back in its project bag or bag or whatever I have it in, so that because I do have so many things sitting out here, I don't want to get lost and have flosses everywhere. My third one that I want to finish for 2022 is Baby It's Cold Outside, and I have just recently showed that one to you. This is another one that I don't consider a huge project, so I don't see any reason why I can't get this one finished next year if I focus on it a little bit. And this is how far I was able to get. The most stitching in this one is the house, and I did get that finished. So I have the words and a couple of trees, some snowflakes, and the rest of the border on this one. So I don't foresee this one being, you know, I want to try to push this one to a finish for next year and have this one, I want to make this one into a pillow, a throw pillow, small throw pillow. And I'd like to have that one done by Christmas time next year, next winter, this in 2022. So that's 3 so far. My next one I want to have finished, and I've showed this recently, is Lantern Lane by Little House Needleworks. And again, the most stitching on this one is the house, and I have finished the house. So I'm hoping, and I do have a thread hanging here still. I haven't touched it since the last time I showed it to you guys. Hoping to get that one finished. Because the house, like I said, that one's, you know, solid, filled in, but it's finished. So I just have another couple of little trees, you know, just this over here, and a little bit of this border left. But basically, I'm more than half done on this one. Sorry for the glare. There you go. So that one I hope to have as a finish next year. I thought about just telling you guys, oh, I want to finish this, 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 and this. And I thought, no, I think you'd like to see where I am and how doable maybe these would be. The next finish that I hope to have for next year is Home of a Needleworker. I think this is Home of a Needleworker 2. And again, the most of the stitching is that house. And I believe I finished the house on this one. I haven't touched this one in a little while. Yes, I did finish the house. And I need to get the words in there and a little bit of motifs in the border. There's the border is just on the top and the bottom. It's not all the way around. So I'm going to finish this one. And like I said, most of these are smallish to medium small. So I don't see why I can't have these finished next year. This next one is Snow Sampler by Country Cottage Needleworks. Looks like this. And I decided to do this one on a green fabric. I think this one was called Beach Walk. I wanted to make sure the white showed up well. And I have that much done on this one. And like I said, this one is not that large. I mean, this is how big the piece of fabric is. This is the center of the piece. So if you look at it, it has some more to the top and the bottom. And I didn't quite finish the word there. I think it's snowman is the word there. But hoping to finish this one. I'm kind of going to breeze through these a little fast because I don't want this video to be 2 hours long. Because I do have quite a bit of projects to show you. The next one that I hope to have finished for next year, and I want to have it finished before Halloween next year, is my Trick or Treat by Shannon Christine. And I have a fair amount of this one done. And it's not, this one is a small because it's only on a piece of fabric this big. So I have the whole top portion done, the whole border done. This is the start of a little trick-or-treater that's in a witch costume. So there's a part here with the candy corns and stuff that says trick or treat, and then the little trick-or-treaters down here. That's all I have left to finish this one. So that is my goal, to get this one finished hopefully before Halloween next year. And then this next piece, this one was a Mania start this past year, and I'm not planning on participating in Mania this year because I have my new starts planned out through the year. And I did Mania last year, I mean this year in 2021. And so I did start quite a bit in May, and this was one of the ones that I did start this past May. And this is Summer Delivery by Plum Street Samplers. And I do have a decent amount already done on this one. So I just need to finish this one up. That's the hope, is to get this one finished in 2022. So you can see I still have some of the star motifs around. I have the horse completed. I have to fill in this sign and still do the sheep that's in this wagon that the horse is pulling, and all of those motifs around that sheep and that basket with the flag. So I do have probably close to about half of this one done. So I think I might be able to get this one finished in 2022. And just like my other ones, this one's a seasonal one, so I'd like to have this one done by the summer because this one looks patriotic. You know, it says Summer Delivery. So those all are the, 9 of the 12 finishes I hope to have for next year, which takes me into some of my new starts, because I want, some of these are going to be new start and finish for next year. One of the things that I want to start this year, my 22 new starts, but also I want to finish, is a Mill Hill kit. I haven't done a Mill Hill kit yet, and when I went to Keepsakes in Ohio in June this year, I saw these stitched up and thought they were really pretty, and I picked up both of these. This one is Cappuccino, and this one here is Latte. I haven't decided which one, so when the time comes that I decide to pick up one of these and start it, I would choose which one I'm going to start, and hope to start and finish one of these this year. Haven't done it, so I don't know how long it'll take. They're small, but they do have beading. So they come with the beads, the button, all the threads, and the perforated paper. But they were really, really pretty. So, and I haven't done them yet, and I'd like to try one. So that is a start and finish goal for one of these for 2022. And another one that I want to have finished for the year that also will be one of my new starts. Well, actually 3 of my new starts. Sorry. And I'm not going to take them all out of here, but I had showed you already when I did my Winter Wonderland extravaganza. I have all of the Prairie School Santas. And I want to start and finish 3. I'm going to pick 3 of these to start and finish in 2022. So that now will lead me, those are all the ones that I want to finish for the year, and a couple of the ones that I want to start for the year. The other starts that I have for the year are my New Year New Start, and I had showed this to you before in haul. let me go ahead and take her out of this bag so I don't make too much noise. This one is Sarah Brazier by Hands Across the Sea. She was the Queen of the May in 2018. And I'll tell you what, she's going to be my new year, new start. I don't know how many years she's going to take for me to finish. But I took her with me to Ocean City because Ocean City has a needlework shop called Salty Yarns. And I was going to go to Salty Yarns and finish kitting this up. I wanted to get a piece of fabric. And then I had collected all of the DMCs for this so I could pick, you know, do a floss toss, you know, figure out what kind of fabric I wanted for her, for this chart. And I had a viewer message me and she said, you know, you might want to consider, because this is charted for Soie silks and DMC. So you could do either or. She said, you might want to consider at least using the silks for all of the places that has the satin stitch, because she said they'll lay nicer, look prettier, and fill it in much nicer than DMC will. So I took her advice and went ahead and got the Soie silks in those colors. So what I had done while I was there at Salty Yarns was decided which I had to look at the chart, open up the book, look at the chart, figure out what colors were where all the satin stitches were. And then I wrote all those down, and then I went and I picked up the MPIs. So these are still the DMCs. I went ahead and re-kitted this, the threads. And then these are the NPIs that I'll need to do the satin stitches. And then I have the extra flosses, the extra NPIs and the DMCs that I'll still need are in a little bag that I got from Salty Yarns. Because I don't want my, I don't really work with silks, but one of the tips I remember hearing on a Flosstube video, and I can't remember which one, this was a while back, and I thought, good to know whenever I do really, if I ever do really start working with silks, is you don't want your silks to get fuzzy and kind of snagged up. I put mine, I didn't want them on the floss drop like I have my DMCs. They'll be fine like that. They're cotton. But my silks, I wanted to put in floss away bags. That way they're kind of protected and they're not going to get all snarled up while I'm working on this project for the next 10 years. Because the other thing that I picked up for this one, so that I could start it, was the piece of fabric. And I showed the ladies at Ocean City at the retreat I was at. I did not realize how big this project is going to be till I got the fabric. This has a 3-inch border. But other than that 3-inch border, and I mean, this one's going to be a tapestry. This, I can't even show you. This is the bottom of it and the top. This pattern is going to measure roughly 37 inches by 37 inches. And I picked up a piece of even weave in the color platinum to do her on. And oh my gosh, people, when I took this out of the packaging after it was cut and I paid for it and I brought it over to the retreat into the stitching room, and I thought, let me go ahead and, get my silks together with my fabric. And I pulled the fabric out of the bag and I saw how huge it was. I thought, oh my gosh, am I insane? So she is definitely going to be a project for the century for me. But I also wanted to let you know, with these Hands Across the Sea, well, this is what I copied so that I could figure out which ones I needed the MPI silks for. I circled all the ones that I knew showed up on the chart in satin stitches. But I received my copy. I ordered this. Sassy Jacks has some of the Hands Across the Sea patterns charts on sale for up to 50% off. And so that's where I picked this up from. Took about 3 weeks to get it, but very nice customer service, I've got to tell you, because this came in a plastic bag, in its plastic sheet, to protect it. And then when I opened it to flip through it, I noticed that there was a little bit of a printing error. I'm not going to show you the whole chart, but a little bit of a printing error here, where this must have got all folded up in the printing machine and tore it and folded it, and I couldn't quite see, I can't see all of the stitching of the pattern there. And so I contacted Sassy Jacks. I emailed them the picture with the torn page and said, I think there was a printing error on this booklet. Could you please at least send me a copy of that page? It was page 15 in the book, because there's several. I mean, she's a big lady. And also what I like about these, Nicola Parkman, who does the Hands Across the Sea, there's a lot of history all in here that you can read. So a few pages. So what Sassy Jacks did, I think her name, I want to say her name was Michelle, whoever is the person in charge over at Sassy Jacks, contacted me back, said, I am so sorry for that. We did not notice there was a problem with the chart, and we are going to send one out to you, another one. And it was in the mail the next day, priority mail, and I received my second copy. So I flipped through this one, and this one looks fine. So I still have my torn copy, and I have this one. So I'm going to try to stitch from this one and try to keep this one neat and clean as much as possible till I get to page 15. But they were nice enough to send me a whole new book because I received a damaged copy. And it was just on the one page up in the corner, because I had sent them a picture, so they knew how much damage there was to it. But they went ahead and sent me a whole new book, and that was really nice of them. So that is going to be my first new start. And like I said, she's going to be the start of the century here. She's going to be a project of the century, because she's going to take me quite a while to stitch up, I am sure. There's the most of the, pretty much the besides cross stitch in this, regular standard cross stitch, is the satin stitches. And I think there was little bits of one other kind of stitch, but nothing hard. So I'm going to attempt that one on January 1st. I'm going to start that one. My second new start that I'm thinking of starting in January also, because this is winter themed, is by Cottage Garden Samplings. And I want to start this Peace on Earth. So this one at least is smaller, more of a medium, small to medium, more, I guess, like a medium size. That one is extra large project. And then this one will be a smaller one. So that is start number 2. Plus, like I said, I got 3 Prairie Schoolers and the Mill Hill kit. So actually that's 4, 5, 6 starts right there. And then this next start, I'm going to start on February 1st. And this one is the Winter White Santa by Mirabilia. And I'm going to stitch this along with a viewer on my channel. Her name is Robin. Okay. And I am getting ready to start Winter Queen by Mirabilia on December 21st. And I'm going to stitch that along with Carolyn from Carolyn Stitches on Flosstube. So if you're interested in, and you want to join along, and if you have these patterns, go right ahead. I mean, I would love, the more the merrier. So while I was at Salty Yarns, I picked up a piece of fabric to stitch that one on because I didn't have the fabric. So this one is kitted up, except I dropped one of the Krynics that this one needs. Because when I ordered the chart, I went ahead and got the bead pack that came with it. And now I've got the fabric, and I picked up all the DMCs. So this one's all kitted up and ready. I need a better bag for that one because I can't zip that bag because it's too full. My next new start is another quite large one. This one I'm going to start, let me find my new start sheet. I don't know if my new start sheet. His Eyes on the Sparrow, I'm planning on starting by March. I've got the Santa that I'm starting in February and those 2 that I'm starting in January. But his eye is on the Sparrow by Heartstring Samplery. I'm going to start this one probably in March. If I feel like it, I'll start it in February, but it might be a March start for the year, for 2022. When I was at the retreat, there was a lady, her name is Nancy, she had been stitching this one, not at the retreat, but she said she had got about half done with it and decided she did not like the way her colors were coming out because she had picked, it calls for a lot of, I believe it's Weeks Dye Works Oscar, and all of the binding around the edges and some of the leaves, plant things in the pattern. And she couldn't find Oscar, so she had picked a different green, and she wasn't liking how it was looking. So she ditched that project, and she went and bought some more fabric to restart it. So maybe her and I will be working on this one. So while I was at Salty Yarns in Ocean City, Maryland, I picked up a piece of Vintage Country Mocha in 32 count that I want to do in an even weave. It's a Lugana that I want to do his eye is on the Sparrow. And I have my flosses. So what I've tried to do is make sure that I have kitted up the first few months. I was working on that. That was my haul for the retreat. All I did was get some fabric and some flosses that I needed for a couple of these projects. So that one will be a new start in 2022. And then my birthday start in April. For my birthday is going to be my other Hands Across the Sea chart that I had ordered from Sassy Jacks. And this one is called Elizabeth Weston. She's big also, but she is not near as big as Sarah Brazier, the one I'm going to start for my New Year New Start. And she really doesn't have, I don't think there's really any specialty stitches. There's just a little bit of 1/1, like the really tiny little, like a little puppy dog or a deer or whatever here, the little small ones. And the lettering, I think, are in 1/1. But other than that, I think this is solid. I kind of flipped through the pattern. Also, this, make sure this one wasn't damaged also, and it wasn't. Because this is how the other one came in its plastic bag, and they didn't know that it had a print error in it. So I went and I picked up a piece of fabric when I was at Salty Yarns. And this one's a good size one, but it's not near as big as Sarah Brazier's piece. This one is, and I'm doing her all in DMC. And this is 32 count Lugana in stone gray. And so this one is a large piece, but it's not near as large as, it is still large. She's still going to be a big project. Like I said, I couldn't do 60 because of the ones I'm picking she's still big too. I don't know what it is about these Hands Across the Sea. It's probably why a lot of people opt, if you stitch on linen, they opt to do it on like 40 count. So it's not as huge. But I have not mastered linen, and I'm barely branching out into even weave so that I can do 1/1 stitching and specialty stitches. But I've been an Ada stitcher for years. And so I feel like, going to Lugana is the next step for me. I tried linen once, but that was years ago, and I really could not get the hang of it, and I ditched the project. I just threw it away. I said, I can't. It looked a mess. It was frustrating to me because of the uneven weave in linen. All the slubs were driving me insane. Now, I didn't have a very good piece of linen, probably. That's probably part of my problem, because this was back in the day when you didn't have, I never heard of anything like Lakeside Linens and, Weeks Dye Works or anything like that. Just going to leave it like that. So maybe it was a cheap piece of linen. And, one of these days I might try linen again, but we'll see. My next start will also be in April, because this is one I thought maybe would be a birthday start, but I probably will go ahead and start it in April. Start Elizabeth Weston on my birthday. But the Moonlight Sampler by The Blue Flower. And I would call this one a medium size project compared to what I stitch on. So I have it, and I have selected a piece of Fiber on a Whim called Pistachio, and this green color. And we'll see if I still, but this, I did a floss toss, and the flosses look nice on this. So I think I'm going to like it on that because it shows it on a different, and I know people were saying they could not get this fabric. Nobody could find it anywhere. But I think I'm going to do mine on green. So we'll see. And this Pistachio. And that was in my stash. So I was able to kit this one out of my stash. I think I needed to order a few of the specialty overdyed threads. And then just pick the fabric from my stash. Now in May, I'm planning on starting Merrily, Merrily We Welcome Spring by Blackbird Designs. And I do not have a piece of fabric yet for this one. So, but I do have, I think I have all of the flosses. I'm gonna have to double check. But I need a piece of fabric for this one, but I'm not gonna do this one till May. So I do have a few months to get a piece of fabric for that one. And then my next start is gonna be, this one's by Teresa Kogut. And I had seen this at StitchCon in the annex, but I kept looking at it. I went in the annex 3 different times, and each time I looked at it and I said, no, I don't need another big project. And now I decided to go ahead and get it. So this one is called Newcastle Bouquet by Teresa Kogut. I just love the border on this one. And I have the flosses for it. Doesn't call for a lot of different colors, but it needed several of the red, which is Classic Colorworks Licorice Red and Cayenne by Weeks Dye Works. And then some greens and a little bit of this glazed carrot. So these were the threads that I need for it. And while I was at Salty Yarns, I found a piece of Ada in the color Water Lily. So it has just a very, 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 very faint greenish tint to it. I'm not going to take it out of the plastic because then I'm going to have to refold it and all that kind of stuff. But it's hard to tell. It's more tan. But it leans just a tiny, slight tint green tan. So I dropped my plastic bag. So I'm going to have that as a start in May, along with Merrily, Merrily We Welcome Spring. So that is going to be started in 2022. Trying not to make a lot of crinkling noise, but because I have all the flosses in there, I have to kind of keep it all together, or I'll have floss everywhere and I won't know what project it went with. Now in the summertime, starting now in June, I'm going to StitchCon again. I'll be at Weekend B, and last year I started the Quaker Study that I want to finish this year at StitchCon this June. So I thought it was a start at StitchCon. I want to finish it at StitchCon this year. And then I wanted to start maybe have another start at StitchCon. Find something at Keepsakes or in the annex, kit it up and start it there, just like I did with Quaker Study. So I don't have a project picked out for June, but that is planned for one of my new starts for next year is a StitchCon start. So that's a wild card one. Don't know what that'll be yet. So that's what I have. So in July, I want to start Liberty's Welcome by Plum Street Samplers. This is another one. This one is deceptively big. Doesn't look that large here, but I've seen people stitch this one up, and it is a decent sized piece stitched up. And I have a piece of Vintage Country Mocha 32 count Lugana that I'm going to stitch this one on, that I've got set aside for that one. And I have the threads, so this one's ready to go. So I want that one to be a new start for next year. The next one is also in July. It's a July start. And this one is Summer at the Shore by Cottage Garden Samplings. This is a little seagull and lighthouse. So I'm going to start that one this coming summer. And I have a piece of fabric picked out. This one is just French Cafe Mocha 16 count Aida. And then I have the threads, which are, what I did is I kitted this one up using floss that was in my stash. Because I did not have all of the colors. And so I just went through, like I had explained to you guys in my last video, how I select flosses and fabric. And I did that. I kind of selected a lot of my own colors. This next new start is going to be for a fall start. And this one is Turkey Bay. I think I skipped one. By Plum Street Samplers. This one's not that big because I have a piece of vellum Aida, a 16 count Aida in the color vellum. It's got a bit of long string where it surged. But I did not need a really big piece because it's not that big of a project. I think I double checked twice the size because I was really surprised that all I would need is, what is this? 12.5 by 26 inch piece to finish this one. But that is going to be a start for this fall. I believe I have that one down for September. Now I skipped one of my August starts. I had them in order in the bag, but I probably missed it. Yeah, I did. In August, I also want to start by the Scarlet House, Isabella Jackson, 1829. So this will be another sampler. And I found this piece of light taupe Lugana at Salty Yarns that I think I'm going to stitch this one on, but I don't have the fabrics, the flosses yet. So this one's partially kitted for me to start next year. And then my next new start was one I didn't get around to this year. I thought I would, and I just didn't, so I want to start it next fall. And that is Autumn Quakers by Rosewood Manor. I mean, not Rosewood Manor. Yeah, Rosewood Manor, sorry. And I have the Baldani threads and the called for fabric, but instead of the linen, I have the 32 count Lugana in Dublin. It's Dublin, yeah. To stitch this one on, and whoops, I just dumped the box of threads in my bag. So I have the Baldanis. And they look like this. The little, it's a 12 pack of different colors. So I have all of the seasons, and I was hoping to start the autumn one this fall, and I just didn't, and I'm running out of time. We're almost into the Christmas season now. So I want to start this one next year. Yeah, so I can get that. And the next new start, we're getting into the next Christmas and fall season here. So I want to start Sweater Weather by Plum Street Samplers. This one, I'm planning on starting this one in October. This one's not that big. I already have the fabric and the thread because I thought I would get it started this year and I didn't. So this one is a piece of 16 count Aida in the color Mellow. So it has it's a little bit of a mellowy yellow color. And it's not that big of a piece, so it's not that big of a project. So I have the piece of fabric and all of the flosses for this one in my bag. So that to start on that one next year. And then we get the next one that I have for October is Un Automne by Tralala. And it's this little witch and mouse. And this one's a small one. So I do have some small starts, thank goodness, because I have enough really super large pieces. And I'm going to stitch this one on this is what I have pulled out. It's just an 18 count piece of Aida. in the color Platinum. And this one I picked up years ago when we used to have a needlework shop in Fredericksburg, in downtown Fredericksburg, called Everything Cross Stitch. Because I remember these bags and how they would, that's how they would write when they'd give you your fabric. So that is an old piece of fabric that was in my stash from years ago. That one will be stitched on. That's the plan for that one. And then this next one, I kitted up while I was at Salty Yarns in Ocean City. And this is Heaven in Nature by Teresa Kogut. So here's another one that's a decent size. It's a large piece, not an extra large, but it is a large piece. And I want to start this one in November next year. So I've kitted it up with a piece of 16 count beach walk fabric. So it's a green fabric, and I have the flosses that I need for it. The called for Weeks Dye Works. I am using the called fors, but instead of a tan fabric that it shows for this one, I'm going to do this one on a green. So that is a November start. And then the last new start for next year is by Bygone Stitches, and this is Quaker Christmas 2. I was wanting to start this one this year, and then I'm running out of time, and I've been stitching on some of my other Christmas whips, so I'm going to start this one next year. And I picked up a piece of 32 count Lugana in the color Lamb's Wool, and I picked a bunch of Victorian Motto red and greens because you need quite a bit to stitch this one. So I pulled the threads from my stash, and I bought a piece of fabric at Salty Yarns. So that one is all kitted up. Okay. Oh, I jumped the gun. Because I was telling you guys about what I want to finish next year on my goal sheet, but I didn't finish my goals. I'm calling mini finishes. Or partial finishes. I still have a bunch of those to show you guys. So some more of my goals for next year. I'm telling you, at least I got a whole year to do all of this. I had started this one for Jacob from Modern Folk Embroidery was doing hashtag Black November Stitch Along, Black Sampler November hashtag. And I started this a year of silhouette. So my goal for this one next year, this is where I'm going to have partial finishes, partial goals. I so far have stitched, let me get it here for you, still on its Q-snap. So far, and I still have the thread hanging here, sorry about that, I've stitched this much of the first block of January. What I want to do for next year is finish January and February on here. So I want to finish this block. I still have all of this down here to do. And then, of course, all of this around. And it's actually pages, 12 pages. So I'm going to finish 2 pages because the page actually comes down and encompasses some of this alphabet down here. So I want to finish this much next year. On a lot of these, because I have so many whips and I have so many large projects, I'm kind of trying to set small goals on some of the big ones. So that is one of my goals for next year, is to finish that much of that one. And then another goal for next year is on my Fruits of Plenty Stitch Along from Modern Folk Embroidery. I have stitched the January page, but my goal, I think, is just to finish February. Let me see. Where is it? Fruits of Plenty. Do the February section. So the February section will be up in here. So I want to stitch that. See if I can get another section done next year. I need to get on it and do more than that in years to come, or it'll take me 12 years to finish this. I mean, if it does, it does. But see, I've done the first section that came out in January, so I want to do the February section next year. At least to get that done. these are just, I'm trying to make myself attainable goals that won't be too hard, along with all of the new starts and all of the other whips that I have. So I don't want to do anything too hard. If I get February and March done, that's just great. That's extra. That's extra bonus. Maybe I'll give myself extra brownie points for that. So that is my plan for that one. I'll just kind of stick that down in there. I've got a mountain sliding down at my feet here. My next mini goal, partial goal, is on my Shores of Hawk Run Hollow. And on this one, I wanted to have 3 blocks completed. Doesn't matter which blocks, but I want to have 3 completed. I've completed this one, so that means I have 2 more. I've started this one. So like say if I finish this one, I can move down to do this one, I could do this one. I'm kind of playing with the idea of going ahead and outlining this whole pattern with all of the blocks. And then that way I can skip around. Like if I wanted to, you know, finish this one and stitch this one or stitch this one, or even do the one in the middle if I feel so inclined. So right now I have this one finished, this one part way done, or most of the way. I think I got a lot of that block done. So if I can have 3 blocks completely finished by the end of the year on this one, counting what's already done. So that's how far I am on this one. So you can see where I'm going to be starting, because I doubt I'm going to pick this one up in the next 3 weeks and stitch, because I'm working on Christmas stuff right now. So my plan is to have at least 3 blocks done by the end of the year on this one. So let me stick that in there. Try to throw things over a little bit more. They're all sliding down at my feet. I have a pile over here, a pile over there. I'm running out of spaces. This next one is my Early American series, and I stuck it in this little case that I had found at, I think I got this at Hobby Lobby in the clearance section. And since this one has several patterns, I have all the pattern. This came with, you know, places where you could, I put 3 zippered pouches, so I have flosses in them. And all of the patterns for the Early American series, I've tucked into that flap there. So my goal for this is to finish 1 more of these, whichever one. I've only done 1 of them. I think it's Betsy Ross. Yeah. And I'm doing it on this blue Ada. But I have finished her, so I want to at least finish 1 more block on this next year. So I want to get this one out, pick the next block, and get going on this one. So that is one of my goals. And then the other piece that's in a funny kind of container instead of a project bag, I found this box at, I think, Michael's. I can't remember which store I got this one on. It was on a sale. Might have been Joann's. It's in the clearance section. And I thought, well, that's cute. And since this project is quite big, because this one is the I'll Be Home series by Twin Peak Primitives, I have all of the flosses. Look at all of those. When I have a lot of DMC, I usually bobbinate, just because there's so many and I can contain them in 1 box. I have finished the January house, and this one is a series where it is all 12 houses for the 12 months. And I have finished the January, and I started blocking for the February house. I would like to finish do the February house, have it finished, the February block this year. So this one, get the pattern out of here. Looks like, and this is just a digital rendering, but I've done the January, so I want to get the February one done this year. And because, you know, it has this big box and this big piece of fabric, I stuck it in that container, and I just know that one houses my I'll Be Home series for the Twin Peak Primitives. So I'm going to finish the February house. That is a goal. Let's stick it down here. I'm just pulling off the pile. These aren't in any particular order that I plan on finishing them. This next one is in a tote bag because this one is a Hade, a Heaven and Earth design. This is a full coverage piece. So there again, I have, I think there are 89 colors. And I'm doing this one on, I think, I'm trying to remember, 18 count white Aida. And I had gridded it and started it. So that's how much I, did some of the gridding. So I haven't even completed a whole page on this one. But I only have an iPad. I don't have a Samsung or, a device that would carry Pattern Keeper. So I asked my husband for Christmas if he could get me a device. I said a cheap one, doesn't have to be anything fancy, just something I can do Pattern Keeper on. And so I plan on, I haven't touched this because I think I want to try to do Pattern Keeper with it. And I'm going to have to go in and block off in Pattern Keeper all of the stitches I've already done before I get started. So I didn't want to go any farther and have even more work of trying to figure out what I've already completed and what I haven't. So my goal on this one, because it doesn't look like anything right now, and I'm sorry I didn't tell you what this is. This is Bonded by the Rain by Leonid Abramov. I think I'm saying that right. And this is a terrible, terrible picture. My printer was running out of color ink. This actually has a lot of reds and blues, and this isn't the right colors. But it's by Leonid Abramov. And I want to finish on this one. Let me see where it is on my list here. Bonded by the Rain. I want to finish at least page 1. And I probably have. I mean, page 1 will be to finish, I think, all of this right here. So we'll see. Because this is, I'm seeing if I like full coverage or not. I thought I at least want to try one. Because I thought it was a really pretty picture. It looks much prettier than what printed out here. But this thing is like, I don't know, 30 pages, 20 pages long. This one will measure out. It is 252 stitches by 460. So on 18 count, it will be a 14-inch wide by 25.5 inches long. So it's not that big, but it is full coverage. And a lot of confetti stitching in Hades. So Heaven and Earth Designs. Like I said, all of these colors are in that. So that is a goal, to at least get one page done on that one and see how I fare with doing a full coverage like that and using Pattern Keeper. Because I was having a hard time kind of keeping track of where I was, and so I stopped, and I haven't touched it in months. So I'm going to see how Pattern Keeper helps me, and maybe I can move along better on that one. My next goal for 2022 is to get, this one is my Christmas at Hawk Run Hollow, and I have already completed block 1, and I had started block 2. And my goal for next year would be to at least have these 2 blocks completed. Hopefully I can go along and do a 3rd block, but I at least wanted to finish this 2nd block in here because it's pretty much full coverage in that block. And that's how far I was able to get. So I still got to fill in all of that. There's a big house, all that blue, that like mint green color. I guess I don't know if it's supposed to be, that's the color of the grass, or if that's supposed to be snow. I'm guessing it's supposed to be snow. All of this is solid stitching, all of that. So, and then you have all of this up here still. So there's very little in that block that's not stitched in. So there's quite a bit of stitching. And it took quite a while just to do the first block on this one. And I don't know how many hours I've already put in on that 2nd block. So like I said, I want to try to at least finish the 2nd block in that one. That is a goal for next year. And I have, what, looks like 3 more goals. The next one is my Pandemic by Long Dog Samplers. And my goal for this one is to finish page 2 of Pandemic. And Pandemic is a monochromatic. It looks like this. And I started up here in the upper left-hand corner. So page 1 went to about here, and then there's page 2. I finished page 1, and I got just a little bit on page 2 started. And I'm doing this one on an off-white Aida 16 count, and I'm using a variegated DMC. Let me see if I can. So my thread is kind of hanging there. But I think about to here, well, actually I might have to change my goal because I got a lot of page 2 done. Because I think to here is page 1. And then I've already got this much of page 2. I'm going to do that right now. I'm going to try to finish 3 pages on Pandemic. So that'll be like a 1.5 page goal for next year. So let me write that one. Let me change that one down. Finish page 2 and 3 of Pandemic. I don't want to make my goals too easy on myself. And we'll see how many I attain. I can't, you know, if I get 100% of them, great. If I get 50%, I'm doing pretty good. So I'm not going to cry myself to sleep at night if I don't attain all of my goals. I'm not going to let it worry me to death. This next one that I want to have a mini goal on, and I think I just wanted to, this one is the Country Cottage Needleworks Snow Village series. I'm doing the whole series as a piece of one. And I wanted to finish one of the squares. I finished 2 so far. And this is the one I showed you my fancy charting to try to figure out how I wanted to lay this out. Because this one has several of these little snow carts and shops and things. And I finished 2, and I would like to finish a 3rd. So I can pick any block that I want because I've already, like I said, I'm thinking of doing for some of my Hawk Run hollows is go ahead and gridding it all out. And then I can go in and I could, if I wanted to, if my 3rd block that I want to finish for this year, if I decide I want to do the one that I have charted for here, I can do that. But I have finished these 2, and I do have it all charted out. So I have this one is a really big block here, a double size one, and then I have all of the regular all the way around it. So one of those I want to finish this year, at least get one more done on this. So that is a goal that I would like to have done for next year. And then the last one, my last goal for the year, and like I said, these are in no particular order, just the last one in my pile there, is my Halloween at Hawk Run Hollow. Oh, get out of there. Get out of the bag. I'm not taking everything out of the plastic, so I'm sorry if there's glare. I have finished block 1. I would like to get, I think I only wanted to get 1 more done. Where is Halloween? Yeah, finish a 2nd block. So start and finish a 2nd block on this one. So I don't even think I started a 2nd one yet. This one I've decided to do on kind of a purpley blue piece of Aida called J-A-Y. By Picture This Plus. So I have finished the 1st block, but that's it. So I might try to grid out some more on this one also, and see if I can finish 1 block more on this one at least for next year. So those are my 22 goals and my 22 starts for next year. Some of my other planning that I have, set this aside, I'll stuff it all back in later, is I do still want to do WIPGO. I want to do WIPGO in 2022. I just saw today, she had just recently put this up. Jessie Marie Does Stuff is her Flosstube. Her name is Jessie Marie. She's the creator of WIPGO, and she is going to continue WIPGO for next year. If you are interested in doing WIPGO, but you don't completely understand how WIPGO goes. Check out her Flosstube. She just put up a Flosstube video called Whip Go 2022, where she tries to explain the basics of it and then tells you how she's planning on doing it for 2022, which is very much like she's been doing it. I am on the Facebook group. There is a Facebook group also. So if you go to her Flosstube, I believe she has it linked in her Flosstube for Whip Go. Right now it's Whip Go 2021 Facebook group, but sometime in the near future, at the end of the year, she will switch that over to say Whip Go 2022. So if you're already joined in that Facebook group, you will continue in it and it'll just be renamed Whip Go 2022. In there, she has a file for her Whip Go board for 2022. So you can use any of the files that are on there. So I just printed this one out to stick in my calendar for next year, that I'm going to be able to use these blocks to maybe keep track of my progress on any of them. So I have done my Whip Go board and I just wrote it out again. So I drew my little board, and it's like a bingo board, basically. And I put a slot, a place over here where I can write the numbers that are called. The 27th of the previous month, so the 27th of December, she will announce the 2 numbers that will be called for January in Whip Go. So say it's 6 and 13. Then those, you know what, I think mine's wrong. Hers goes up to 25. I'm going to have to renumber mine. She also numbers the free space. She numbers that 13. And then this should be 14, 15, 16, 17, all the way up to 25. Because you can choose to make that a free space, just like in bingo, where you get a little break there and you don't have to have a goal in that block. Or you can have a goal in that block if you want. Because she calls 2 numbers every month. There should be 24 numbers. So, and then a free space. Then I put for each of my blocks what my goal is. And I changed my goal here. I made it, each goal is for 10 hours. So if it's 6 and 13, I would look down here, and number 6 is Nantucket Rose. That's a lavender and lace piece. So I would need to work 10 hours on that one, say if that was called in January. And then another goal for my Whip Go goal, 13, would be pandemic, to work 10 hours on pandemic. And then when what I do on my board, when the goal is called, I put 1 slash through it. And then I write the numbers over here. So it would be 6 and 13 if those were the numbers called. And I'd put a slash through it. When I finished it, I put an X through it. And then let me get my board from this year. And then I highlight it usually so that I can see it better and see what I finished and what I have not. So this is my Whip Go board for 2021 so far. And I put my goals, my thing was bigger and I put my goals. And if you can see, I switched some of my goals. Because one of the things I realized with me is I'm more of a seasonal stitcher. So if a Christmas piece is called in June, I more than likely don't want to really, I'm not feeling like stitching on a Christmas piece in June or August or whatever. And I don't usually stitch on Halloween in January, in February, things like that, way out of season. So I had a lot of seasonal pieces on here, and I noticed that I wasn't picking them up to work on them. So that's one of the things I've learned about myself, is that I normally I don't stitch that much out of season. They don't call to me too much out of season. So what I picked for this year on my thing were things that weren't seasonal. So it didn't matter what time of the year they were called. These are more of my non-seasonal projects. Pandemic, Angel of Grace, Princess Eliana, Tidal Rivers, A Perfect World, Nantucket Rose, Hoity Toity, Jenny Bean. None of these are Christmas, Halloween kind of themed projects, or patriotic for summer, stuff like that. So I think it should not matter what time of the year the numbers are called for me to want to work on them. And then a lot of these too are big ones that I want to try to push along, like Fruits of Plenty, Pandemic, Princess Ileana, she's a Mirabilia. You know, so that's what I picked for this year so far. You can always change, you know, she says your board, your rules. So whatever you want to make your goal, whatever you want your project to be, if you feel like switching some of them out halfway through the year, you know, partway through the year, whatever, and you want to switch it 2 or 3 times, you can. And that's what I had done back here. Some of them ended up getting switched. I switched out and put, let me see, for Autumn Angel, I put Lantern Lane because I knew it was the end of the year and I knew I'd want to work on Christmas pieces. So I switched in some Christmas pieces back in November, for November and December on that board. Another thing that I plan on continuing doing next year is Jen Lee does 24 hours of cross stitch. I think she has a Flosstube channel. And she does 24 hours of cross stitch weekends. She also does acrostic goals. If you're on her Facebook page, 24 hours of cross stitch Facebook. She'll have these once a month. And they're just little challenges. And you can see I met some of them, but not all of them, you know. So, and I want to see if I get better at goals, then, you know, who knows? Maybe next year, you know, maybe I'll get all but 2. You know, maybe I'll get better. Maybe I'll get worse. I don't know. I am very much a squirrel. I'm all over the place. I start new things. I'm not starting as many new things this year, but I already have a lot of whips and, you know, works in progress, and I'm adding more to it this year. So we'll see how all over the place I am, but I am planning on continuing 24 hours of cross stitch, the whip go, and what I had done. There's a lady, her name's Carolyn Zook, who has a Flosstube channel. She also has a couple of Facebook groups. Her Flosstube channel is C Zook Stitch, CZOOK STITCH. C Zook Stitch is her Flosstube channel. She also does a Facebook group for, I forgot what the one was, but one of them is Friends of Hawk Run Hollow. She does a Hawk Run Hollow Facebook group. But I was watching one of her planning videos a while back, and this past year, and then again for the upcoming year, she uses this calendar. I know a lot of cross stitchers use the, there's a needlepoint one. But this one is just a calendar you can order off of Amazon, and that's what I did. I think it was like $8, and it goes for 2 years. It does not have these tabs. I went to a craft store and bought, in the planner section at a craft store, I bought a couple of sets of tabs for the years, so that I could just quickly flip to, if I wanted to flip to, you know, March of 2022. It has a note page, and then it has a full page calendar. And that's what it has for each month. And I went ahead and I already put a little bit of stickers in, and I entered in some things that I know I have coming up stitching wise, like StitchCon in June. If I go to my June calendar, I should already have, no, that's April, May, June. I don't have my glasses on. Can't see. So the June calendar, I've already written in my StitchCon retreat. So I'm going to be going to StitchCon, you know, and I went ahead and put a few little stickers to decorate it. It has a little place where you can put some notes here. But for each month, whoop, I got things tucked in here that are falling out. But for each month, it has a page where it shows you the two, you know, the calendar laid out with the holidays, the U.S. holidays. And then it had a blank page here at the very beginning. And so what I did was I wrote down all of my winter and Christmas whips, so I could see them at a glance here. And then my January new starts. So far I have written in here, my New Year new start is going to be Sarah Brazier, 1829, from Hands Across the Sea. And then I have another one planned. When I know I definitely am doing it that month, I'll write it in there. So those are some little plans that I have. So when you flip through this, it's a very, it has all I need in a calendar, because then here's the layout. And what I did too is I'm going to be starting Snow Queen in December. And what I want to do for next year, another goal that I have, another planning thing that I want to do, is I want to do Mirabilia Mondays. I'm going to do Mira Mondays. So I already went ahead and I wrote in Snow Queen for every Monday in January. Right now, well, with the 2 new starts that I will have from this one in December and then the one that I will have on February 1st, the Winter White Santa, I'll have three Mirabilias going. So I'm going to rotate through them on Mondays all through the year. So in January, I want to work on the Snow Queen. And then in February, because I'm going to start the Winter White Santa on February 1st, which I wrote in here, my Stitch-A-Line start. Then I wrote Winter White Santa down for every Monday. And then I have another retreat. I'm going to the Steel City Stitchers retreat at the beginning of February. So things that I already know I have going on stitching wise, I've already written in my calendar. In March, my Mirabilia Mondays are going to be Princess Ileana that I have. She's already a whip that I have going on. So, I just put it in there just like that. In April, I plan on doing the Snow Queen again. I haven't written past March, but I'm planning on doing Mirabilia Mondays. I got them written in there for the first 3 months, see how that goes. So that's a goal that I have going. So, and like I said, on the notes sheet, I want to write down my new starts. So I already know a new start in February for my stitch along is going to be the Winter White Santa by Mirabilia. So I wrote that in there for February on the note sheet. And then I put it down, like I said, for every Monday to work on the Winter White Santa in February. And then this one is 2 years, so it gives you 2 whole years of planning in one book. So that is the book that I'm going to be using for 2022 and 2023 to put all of my stitching things in. And all of my new starts, all of my goals that I have set for myself. I've got my WhipGo board going, and that is what I'm going to be up to for 2022. Will things change? Maybe. Will I attain all of my goals? We'll see. So, like I said, usually my plans are fluid, but I like to have a little bit of a plan because it helps me stay a little bit on track if I still want to go and veer from the plan and do something else, because I like to stitch on what I feel like stitching on. They're not completely set in stone where I'm limiting myself. And even if I'm like, I really this month do not feel like stitching on that piece, I'm not going to make myself stitch on that piece. I will be flexible. They're goals, but they're flexible. So maybe in February, I don't work on, every Monday, do a Mirabilia Monday and work on the Winter White Santa. Maybe there's a couple of the Mondays or one of the Mondays that I don't. Maybe, and also it doesn't mean that I'm limited to only working on them on Mondays. If I feel like working on it Monday and Tuesday and Wednesday of one week, then I'll let myself do that. So that is my plan so far for this year. And I hope, some of you are making your plans for next year. If you do that sort of thing, I like to plan things out. And then, and I like goals. It's nice to, see and say, check, I did that, but I'm not completely, it won't make me stressed out if I don't make every single goal. I just might be like, oh man, I didn't do so well on my goals this month. And sometimes I'll pick up the slack the next month. Just like on my WhipGo, if I didn't finish something in February, doesn't mean I can't pick it up and do it in March. But, and then I still get to that goal and get it done for the year. So that is my plans. And my plan for this year is sometime in this next week, definitely before my company comes on December 18th, definitely before then, I want to get a video in and do a regular Flosstube update, show you what I've been stitching on. I've been busy on some winter and Christmas pieces, so I'd like to um, show you guys what I got going on with that. And then we'll be into the new year. So I hope you guys have a happy, healthy week. And until next time, happy stitching. Bye.